everyone, Teresa with Hick-A-Billy LLC. She's upset. So, I was taking my time getting out here in the barn this morning, and I had this feeling I needed to check on my goats. And I kind of didn't. I wanted to focus on my gardening today. So I was like, they'll get outside, go do their thing. And so after I was done getting the gardening stuff for the indoors started and got myself something to eat, took a shower, got cleaned up, I decided I had this nagging feeling I need to check my cameras. And I went into my cameras and looked into the main room, and there were 2 kids in the feeder. Everybody else was gone. And I was like, well, we got a couple of kids. I wonder if there's a couple of adults in the other side too. So I went to the other camera, switched to the back side of the barn, and I saw this black thing hanging off the dang feeder. I was like, what the heck am I looking at? And a lot of times these cameras lock up, so a goat could be moving, and so you're not really getting the full thing. It'll like get a blur. So I looked at it again, zoomed in, and yeah, freaking goat hanging off the feeder. Ciara here got her foot stuck, and I'm going to show you here in a minute. But I need to put a brace on her foot. I have these really cool emergency braces for broken limbs and stuff, or whatever you need to support. It's flexible, it bends, it comes like in a roll, and you cut it to size. This is all I have left, so I'm gonna have to get some more, but I'm gonna brace up her little foot. I don't think she broke anything, but her toes or her hooves were stuck between the hog panel and the wood. So the weight of the hay and on the hog panel and the pinched her foot between there. So most likely what happened, another goat got up there, pushed up on that wire, her foot slipped in there while she was up there eating, and it got stuck. This is not the first time Ciara has been stuck in the feeder like that, but I normally have my cameras running all the time. I didn't have it running last night, actually all this week, because I had sold some babies and I sold a mom, and it's heartbreaking for me to hear them crying, and so I have to shut it off so I can sleep, because otherwise I hear them crying. It's my fault for not having my cameras on, because I seriously think she was hanging up there most of the night. She literally was giving up. She had her head tilted to the back, hanging. Her leg is still stretched out and stuck onto the top part of the feeder, and she's just limp, and her head is twisted back, which is usually when they want to die. And when she was trying to cry out for help, it was a very low cry. But you can see she's standing now. She's got her babies with her. She's a bit skittish right now, but she's usually a friendly baby girl. And it's because she's injured. And I hope that we did not have the circulation cut off on her hooves to where they're going to die and fall off or come off. I might have to have it amputated. I did that with my goat broken leg. She somehow had injured her foot, but had got herself out of it. And look out, cat. She got herself out of it, and all you could see was a little cut on her foot because she was limping. And I was like, oh, she's going to be okay, because there was no blood, no open wound. It was just like a scratch. But whatever happened cut her circulation off. This is the feeder. She had her foot wedged and stuck in here. So another goat pushed up on it to grab hay, and it just popped and stuck her foot right in there, and she was hung here. Her leg was straight, draped out. Her body, now mind you, she's like probably 100 to 115, maybe 120 pounds. all that weight hanging down because she was literally right here. And her head was bent backwards, her legs outstretched here, the rest of her body hanging. That's a lot of weight to be putting on that leg for a very long time. It's killing me. It breaks my heart to do that. I mean, to see this. And as soon as I saw it, I dropped everything, ran outside, come running to her as fast as I could, and had to get her out of there. Oh my God, it is the worst feeling. It's like seeing your child with their hands cut, trapped in a door, you know, shutting the car door. It's the worst feeling in the world. So hopefully she'll be okay. I'm gonna have to do something. I'm pull this hay out of here and find a way to either put a barrier here so they can't get their feet up in here and try to get up here to eat. Because see, the food is on this extra wire, which allows these goats, when they're piled in here to eat, they can pull it out of here. But I'm going to have to do something to keep this wire from moving. Like I said, she did this to me once before, over the winter. And I didn't think she was going to do it again, but apparently she's still getting up here to eat. So, because what happens is the other kids are feeding down here, or the other goats are in there, and they climb up over them to reach the food so they all can be eating. Even though these feeders have two sides, we have feeder access on both sides of the feeders. And this feeder is the same thing on both sides, access to feed, and they still want to get up to the top. I believe the last time she got stuck, it was on this feeder. And on this one, I had screwed in these boards here to try and keep this down so it doesn't pop up. So obviously, I just should have done it to both feeders. And see, this one here is not, she could still get caught here because there's not a board in here. I'm going to have to get some scrap wood and fix that. So, and yes, my barn is a disgusting mess right now. I'm going to redesign it again, lay out different rooms, and I think I'm going to split up the herd into groups of 5 and give them some outdoor run areas so I can manage them a little bit better. Having some other issues I will talk about a little bit later in other videos. As soon as I get more information and get those issues dealt with, I'll show you those things. And these are all things that come with homesteading and raising livestock. Freak accidents, you know, you got to fix the things as they come along, and health issues and all kinds of fun stuff. So when you raise a livestock, especially in a large numbers, you know, I started out with 150 goats, and I keep downsizing, and because I need to put more individual hands-on to each animal, because I want them to be happy, healthy, as best conditions they possibly can be, under the conditions we have here with the high alkaline water, alkaline soils. It's causing health issues. I need to do more hands-on, and to do it at a scale of 150 goats, it's impossible, just impossible. So for one person, take that back. It's impossible for one person, especially when we are doing, I am doing a lot of other things. So this is my goat, Darcy. I'm just going to do a quick side note and show you her. She is my oldest doe. She is 12. She has been pulled off of breeding. You can see how anorexic she is. This is the copper deficiency issue that I battle on a daily basis here. Now, she gained weight over the winter. She almost died on me last winter. She was actually down, couldn't get up, extremely weak. Was not eating grass. I did not realize she was not eating. She was in my hot room along with her granddaughter, who was suffering the same, but not quite as bad of a condition as she is. Number one issue is that she's old. they're always going to be weaker and harder to recover from anything. But she actually did recover enough to be able to go out, and she actually was up and eating. But I ended up feeding her rice and beans. She put on weight. She was doing really well. This spring, when we started grazing, she went out and she was grazing and eating. But her coat started turning red again without the beans and rice, because she wasn't around for me to feed her. She would go out with the herd, and now she's doing it again. I copper bolused her and dewormed her last week, and she was due. I'm doing it every 3 to 4 months. She was copper bolused at 3 months, and her lower half from here down was like red. One of the signs, as you can see, her little leg hairs there are a lighter color. That should be black, because she is a solid black goat. But she's recovering, because I did that, dewormed her. But you can see how anorexic, there's no muscle mass there. She's just wasting away. She's been tested for Johne's, which is a wasting away disease, and she is clean. She's been tested throughout most of her life. Every few years, she comes up clean every time. So now I need to be feeding her. She needs to be permanently on beans, rice, and some nutrient-dense greens, which means I have to feed her twice a day to keep her healthy and to build her body condition back up, so that she could spend the rest of her life as a healthy, happy, normal goat without the anorexia. But I have to spend time with her, which means it takes time away from everything else. And so, which is why I'm going to redesign this barn. And I just fed her some grain, because her beans are in the house, because the emergency I ran out to is I didn't bring them. I'm going to have to go get her beans and throw some rice on. But anyway, I have a few of these, and it's the copper deficiency, because all the signs lead to it. If you test for it, she has to be dead, and they do liver biopsies. You can't test it any other way. So our water is the issue, I think, is our problem. We had a dry year for 2 years in a row. The concentrations of minerals become stronger, which binds to their ability to absorb nutrients. And that's what I'm battling here on a daily basis. So I keep downsizing. I'm doing another downsize. Hopefully I can get rid of the goats, get them sold off, so that I can do more hands-on every day, each goat, twice a day, to make sure they get healthy, because I kind of don't want to be breeding them when they're not healthy. It's just they don't last as long, and they're not happy. So anyway, that's the excitement that happened so far today. I might have more. I do have a boat, kayak, that I want to take out, and I will put out a short on that. The goats tore up my door. What they did, they ripped off the door and started eating the insulation. Or they don't eat it, they just pull it out. All right, I need to get her bandaged up so she can feel more comfortable on that foot. So, all right, guys, happy gardening and happy homesteading.